everyone, so I've been standing here going over this Land Cruiser and I couldn't help but notice just how interesting it is underneath. This vehicle is built to an incredible standard. It's one of the toughest vehicles, if not the toughest vehicle sold in the United States. And while I'm not an expert on the underpinnings of vehicles, there are still a couple things underneath here that I just really wanted to highlight. So if I get anything wrong, forgive me, but either way, let's take a look underneath the Land Cruiser here.
So the first thing I think is worth highlighting here before we even get underneath is just the approach angle. If you look at a Toyota 4Runner, you'll notice that it comes out way farther right here. And on the Land Cruiser, all those components sit further back, which gives you better clearance up front. Another cool thing, all vehicles have some kind of tie-down point up front, but usually what those are just that, tie-down points. And that's what you've got right here. This is a tie-down point, so like during transport, they can ratchet this thing down to the back of a trailer. But right here, you've got a bona fide recovery point that can be used for yanking this thing out of the mud. You can winch off of it. Not a lot of vehicles have that. And you can see that it's bolted in. Pretty big bolt right there. You've actually got two of those up front. I'll climb further underneath here, and you can see massive skid plate right there. And those skid plates actually go back pretty far. You've got one up here for, I guess that's protecting your radiator. You've got one underneath the front differential. You've got one protecting the transfer case, and then way back there, right there, there's one that protects the gas tank. So really good underbody protection on this thing. Check out these lower control arms too. They're super thick. Just everything is higher diameter, thicker, more robust. Really impressive underneath. Let's check out something else. So a feature unique to Toyota and unique to just a few Toyota off-roaders is what the company calls Kinetic dynamic suspension system. And what that is a feature that will sense when the vehicle's on uneven terrain and automatically disconnect the front and rear sway bars, which allows for more wheel articulation when you're off-roading. And you can see the Land Cruiser's KDSS, the front is actually completely covered by the skid plates, I think. I couldn't find it up there. But around back here, you can see it. It's this component's right there. There's more up there that you can't see. But what that will do is disconnect if things get off center and allow this rear axle to articulate more. Same goes for up front. Independent front suspension up there, but when the sway bar disconnects, you get better wheel articulation. Really cool. You don't have to activate it. There are no buttons in the cab associated with it. Just turns on automatically. Really cool. Man, yeah. There's your, I guess that's your transfer case. You can see it's pretty well protected. Gas tank right there. The shock absorbers on this thing aren't branded like TRD or Fox Off-Road or anything like that, but I've gotten to take this off-road. I've gotten to take another Land Cruiser off-road, actually, not this one, and it's super impressive. It's a really heavy vehicle. You can feel the weight when you're off-road, but just super smooth, confidence inspiring, really awesome shocks on this thing. I love them. 18-inch wheels, that's another nice thing about the Land Cruiser, is they don't give it to you with 21s that are going to get damaged off-road. These are basic 18-inch alloy wheels. You can see that these are Dunlop Grand Trek all-season tires. I'd throw a set of all-terrains on if this were my vehicle, but these are probably for fuel economy, which is already pretty atrocious. Give you another look right here. There's that gas tank skid plate. So there are a total of, I guess, 5 skid plates. It's hard to see this one from up front, but there's another one there. So that's transfer case. Yeah, I'm not sure. I guess transmission
transfer case. So total of 5 skid plates. One more thing I forgot to touch on. You get recovery points, well, at least one of them in the rear here. So there's one right there. Also, your 7-pin connector right there, that's nice. And then over here, what do we have? No, just a tie-down point right there. So 3 recovery hooks on this thing. No, that's pretty generous. Spare tire sits underneath like it does in a truck. You can remove that, put it on a bumper, hang it off the back for even better clearance underneath. Probably one of the most impressive vehicles I've ever driven. One reason you'll see Land Cruisers with snorkels a lot is because the air intake is down here actually. So putting a snorkel on moves the air intake from here all the way up to here. And generally, if you're driving along in a convoy or if you're just on a dusty road by yourself, there's a lot of dust and dirt that gets thrown around in these wheel wells. So moving the air intake from here up to here via a pillar mounted snorkel allows the vehicle to breathe much cleaner air than it would in its stock form. So again, correct me if I'm wrong on any of that stuff, but either way, I just wanted to give you a look at the underpinnings of the Land Cruiser. It's so unique, there's nothing else like it, and it's probably one of the most impressive vehicles on sale today.